One of the things I absolutely loved about the book was the fact that Tahira brought in the left side brain and all of the scientific evidence to quantum physics and spirituality and different types of physical formulas, and also then allowed you to explore it with new context. And I think I really love that. Also the fact that she had that experience where isolation led to connection. I think when we were discussing it, that's such a beautiful concept, is that instead of fighting these things in life that we're taught to fight all of these emotions, we embrace them, we actually get breakthroughs. Now, our book, An Entrepreneur X Factor, was a very different experience. Is that it was an experience that my business partner and I, we traveled around the world and we interviewed 18 entrepreneurs, all the way from the age 16, from Melbourne, all the way to a 78-year-old founder of Riva Cars in India. And one of the things that we were doing is we were reaching out to hear their story of entrepreneurship. At that time, we were specifically interested in something that we called spiritual entrepreneurship. But what we found out that the market didn't really like that term. So we changed it a little bit. We call it spirited entrepreneurship. So often our interviews would be over a bottle of wine or over scotch or something like that. So we bring in the spirit of alcohol. I loved the experience of meeting entrepreneurs and interviewing entrepreneurs and finding their X factor. In fact, assisting them to get clarity on what their X factor is. I find it so fascinating that people suppress and often don't honor their X factor. They have a feeling that anybody can do it. No, each of you have incredible gifts and talents. I would invite you after tonight's session, before you go to bed tonight, is write down perhaps some answers to some of the questions you might be hearing tonight. Like, what are you awesome at? What do you love to do? If somebody put $10 million in your bank, what would you do? In what ways can you serve humanity? What makes you cry? These are questions that trigger an understanding of what Tahira went through in her isolation, yet went through it as she wrote and she channeled and she actually allowed it come on a piece of paper. And that's one of the things that I do love, the idea of collaboration, and this is what tonight is, a collaboration amongst a number of people that allowed us all to be here. In Entrepreneur X Factor, we do talk about ancient wisdom. And there is a beautiful line of divine intelligence that's happening tonight. Because you see, right now, my business partner was a rock musician. I'm not a rock musician, and I've never really been into music. In fact, when I was 7 years old, my piano teacher told my parents, save your money, he's got no music talent at all. At 9 years old, my art teacher told my mom, he's got no art ability either. And I kept that, and I carried that for over 40 years before I started taking singing lessons, before I took art classes. And I had these incredible breakthroughs where tears would just flow when my art teacher or my singing teacher today tells me that I've got talent. And those teachers that had no idea how that comment at 7 years old could scar somebody for so long. And so maybe that's something you take away today, is that you'll go and explore some of your artistic ability, your dancing ability, your singing ability, and it may allow X Factor to flow. This book is about business, because we love business. I love the rhythm of business. And this is something that if you want to take a picture of, please do, because a number of you will be getting a present, which includes this book, so you'll actually have an opportunity to read it. But it starts with an idea, and then goes to brand, and then team, and then partnerships, and then equity, acquisition, cash flow, and systems. And this is just the flow of business, which if you start to sing the flow of business, maybe your business will flow more. And that's another area that Tahira and I really connected with, is understanding and being curious about your own flow. Because each of us has our own rhythm. And when we hear Dr. Dixon talk a little bit later, he'll actually tell you that your voice has a code that can either empower you or drop you down, just like that. In fact, some people, their voice is so cracked that it's actually causing their body to break down. And he's got some wonderful technology that he'll be sharing about it. But these were the key themes that we used in X Factor, was ancient wisdom. your soul journey. In fact, 8 years ago, I started a company called Soul Journeys Travel, where we take people on 10-day trips around the world, places like Machu Picchu or Egypt, and allow people to experience the vibration of this place as part of their journey. We talk about cycles, because cycles theory is something that's so beautiful when you start to study 7, 8 year divine feminine or divine masculine cycles. Clarity, getting clarity on whatever you want to do. And clarity through music, clarity through dance is one of the things that can just be so rhythmic in one's life. The big one here is quality questions, and that's one of the reasons why we wanted to have a session on Q&A. It's one of the big faults that schools all around the world just is failing by not helping people ask better questions. One of the things that's beautiful to remember is that the quality of your life will come down to the quality of the questions you ask. Even if you've got so much money, if you've got lousy questions, you're going to have a lousy life because you're going to be very good at making yourself feel very bad. And so, what are the questions that you ask? In our book, we share the cycles of questions according to the I Ching, which is a 4,000-year-old document from China. It's something that I love to study ancient wisdom. The Vastu is our relationship with Mother Earth and the cosmos. These are things that we researched and put in the book because it's understanding the cycles of business, the cycles of flow, the cycles of our humanity. Being present. That's one of the things that's really great with a group like this is you're very present right now. And we've got to stir it up a little bit too so that you can be engaged amongst the table. And that's one of the things I'll be doing in a second. And the thing that I really wanted to share was this unique ability. Yet, I could just continue to share about unique ability. And in fact, I would love to know what your unique ability is. It gives you an opportunity to explore yourself. Because so many people are suppressing who they truly are. Now, one of the invitations I have for you tonight, though, is maybe you go home and you write 3 or 4 of your friends and you just ask them, what makes me special? And you get some feedback. Because this journey of your unique ability, this is a theme that came into my life in 2013. It was drawn in 1493 by Leonardo da Vinci. It's the Vitruvian Man. It's incredible wisdom. There's sacred wisdom in this drawing. Their relationship with the cosmos, the relationship with your body, the relationship with nature, the sacred geometry. It's incredible the amount of wisdom in the Vitruvian Man. And this idea here, though, it changed my life, this one little picture, because it changed my belief that when I meet people, before, I used to be a banker. I used to be a banker for 20 years. I had a big ego. In fact, master of the universe was the way that I was raised in my university days. Master of the universe playing sports. Master of the universe getting into fights. And this Vitruvian Man changed my life in a second when I realized that when I meet people, that you are the center of your universe. What you hear, what you feel, what you experience. When I realized that, my life changed. Because I went from being someone that was very, very, very full of myself to being curious about you. Curious about your journey. And that's one of the reasons why I love meeting with different people and being sincerely curious about what are some of your unique abilities? What do you love to do? And it's just such a great feeling for me. And so maybe the Vitruvian Man might have an impact on you a little bit. Yet from a businessman's perspective, to be aware that that person I'm speaking to hears things, sees things, feels things totally different than me quite often. And for me to really connect with them, ask, be curious, listen. And it can truly change the way you connect, network, and live your life. That was the theme for me in 2013. I combined it with a little tweak of it was Vitruvian Man, you're the center of your universe. And then the other thing was to honor people's quirkiness. To go around the world and actually look for people's quirkiness and to honor it. And it's so cool because so many people have actual shame and humiliation to some of their quirkiness, yet I want to honor people's quirkiness. In fact, that was one of the things I said last year when I was asked to speak in Mumbai for the United Nations, because India is very famous for the land of tolerance. And I just was curious. I said, what would happen if we went from tolerance to acceptance? Would it change? Would it change our life? And then for some reason I got curious again, and I said, what would happen if we went from tolerance to acceptance to honoring? Yeah, I honor your hat. I honor the way you are. It's a different energy when you honor, when you lift someone up. You don't lower yourself down by lifting someone up. And so it's just a game to play. That one of the themes of the businesses that I've worked with is play a bigger game. I'm inviting you to play a bigger game. Your unique ability might assist you with that. Explore it. As you read the book, if you choose to read Entrepreneur X Factor, there's a couple of little exercises that you can do to explore your unique ability. One of the things you could do is just go and ask 3 or 4 people to tell you what their unique ability is. I'll be doing that over drinks tonight. So what I also wanted to do was to demonstrate it, because I have a dear friend here tonight. He just flew in from Bali. I've known him for almost a decade. And I'm sharing with him what I see part of his unique ability is. May I have permission to do that, Matthew? Okay, so this is what I did for Matthew today, is I created a little slide. Unique ability. His nickname is the Rapping Professor. He speaks French and Chinese and Bahasa and English, and he does raps in 4 languages. He loves music, he loves people, he loves edutainment, and his most recent creation, because he loves to co-create and create, is something called a rapamonial. It's a testimonial and a rap put together, and last month when he was in Singapore, he started testing it, and he got great feedback. And I wanted to invite him up, because, you know, it's one thing about giving you theory about unique ability, yet there's one thing that's magical when you invite somebody to demonstrate it. So ladies and gentlemen, please put a big smile on your face, a round of applause for the rapping professor, Matthew Bloomfield.
Why not? Good idea. Brilliant idea by Sandra. She offered, she said,
and so this is another little tip, because again, we're practical in things, is that we are now in the world of video. And some of you might not like to video yourself yet the invitation is, if you're going to be a business person these days, getting more comfortable with video and finding ways to use video is something that might really serve you and your enterprise. So, how you doing, bro?
that was an awesome introduction. Give me a hug, man. That was awesome. And what's so fun about Dave is that I had no idea about this. This is a total surprise to me too. So when you get a surprise like this, you get to be in the moment. And I love being in the moment. So I'm the rapping professor, and this is what I do. I'll bring in my original gift raps to you. 我是说唱教授，要跟你们讲，我写歌词，你们会欣赏。Nama saya Matthew, professor de rap. Saya menulis lirik yang lengkap. Je suis le prof de rap. Je me présente aujourd'hui. Bienvenue à tous. Le fête de Bliss House est ici. Thank you. 谢谢. So, as the rapping professor, when we were asked to share a skill that we had or a unique ability just now by Dave, what I highlighted is an ability that I have to take a body of information and distill what I feel are the most essential, important parts and incorporate it into a humorous and informative rap, which I call a gift rap. No W on the rap. Got it? Okay. So, I am here in Singapore this week from Bali as an invited writer at a conference at SMU. It's called Writers in Celebration. So there are writers from different countries. So what I like to do, I like to write a little bit of a rap. This is a sample of a gift rap. I won't do the whole thing, and I understand you don't know all the individuals involved in that conference, but this is sort of a sample, and you'll see how what the point of a gift wrap is. So I like to acknowledge the people who are involved in an event, thank organizers, thank sponsors, volunteers, etc. So this is a sample of what a gift wrap would be, and it's called Writers in Celebration, SMU. I'm Matthew the Rappin' Professor, and this is what I do, coming from Bali to share my gift wraps with you. It's my special honor on this fine occasion to welcome you to Writers in Celebration. We're gathered here, coming from many nations to create a warm and vibrant vibration. Big thanks to Kirpal Singh and SMU for hosting this gathering. We've got lots to do. And big props to the people behind the scenes who take care of the logistics, the ways and the means to make it possible for us all to gather here. So to Anne and Charlene, we raise a big cheer. Please allow me a rap preview of what's to come this week. The writers we have with us, the topics on which they'll speak. Representing Australia, it's no small wonder these writers are joining us from way down under. For example, Satendra Nandan is an Aussie and Fiji A-lister, writer, academic, and former cabinet minister. And on the docket from Canada, also no small wonder, these intrepid wanderers have escaped the northern tundra. Bob Paquin is the foremost authority on Canada's role in the Arctic. He drove his snowmobile today, eh? But he forgot where he parked it. Thanks so much for your attendance. I hope this event today takes you to transcendence. In a digital age, good literature is needed more and more. So, read Through the Golden Door, because life is short. Thank you.
Thank you, Rapping Professor. All right, let's give one more round of applause. Thank you very much. And we're going to move into the Q&A session, and the MC is going to be Paul Zaman. He's going to ask some questions. If you would like to ask a question to Tahira or myself, we're going to be sitting over here, and you can raise your hand. Paul's got a couple of questions prepared. Yes. All right, can we give a round of applause to Paul Zaman?
Right. I have actually been writing the sequel to Through the Golden Door, and the title is The Golden Door Opens. So, well, you have to see what's next. And it's going to be just as miraculous and magical in a different way. So, this one, those who have read it, it covered many areas. The sequel, I can see it as based on what's been happening. It goes very deep into one particular area. So it goes deeper into relationship and love. That's just a little hint. It will have some of the characters with some new interesting characters. So that is the future plans. And also there is a children's series coming up called Adventures Through the Golden Door, which is illustrated. We have partnered with an illustrator, and hopefully it will be like something that could be on TV. That's what we're hoping for. I want to reach out to the preteens, the youth, so that they can also learn wisdom and scientific knowledge and literature in a fun way, interesting way. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tahira. Entrepreneur X Factor, like I shared with you earlier, was about going to 33 countries and sharing the wisdom of the book, yet also encouraging people to become better at pitching their business and pitching their opportunities. And so last year, we ran a global Entrepreneur X Factor competition. In fact, Dr. Dixon was the winner of that competition that was held in Bali. And so this year we'll run another global competition for Entrepreneur X Factor. And so what we've done with this is developed a business model that allows authors just not to earn one revenue stream, yet also look to create other content. And so this book has also been put onto a Udemy course, it's been videoed. So we're looking for those multiple streams that can come from one publication. And that's one of the things that I'll be working maybe with a number of you. I'm definitely looking at collaboration with Tahira on finding ways that can allow the once published book to have multiple purposes and potentially get into the education system. I work with a number of schools in Malaysia, and in fact, the first entrepreneur school for kids, and this is part of the curriculum now for the kids. So that's one of the things I absolutely love, is the concept of Matthew shared was edutainment. That's edutainment, education and entertainment. And that's so much where we're at. And this is even perhaps a pilot even for other shows that could be done. Thank you very much, Paul.
Okay, I'll lead on to another question. How did your experience writing your book, both of you, change you as a person? Maybe just summarize one or two succinct things. Thank you. And back to you before we start. If you want to make a question, please raise your hand so I'm aware. Okay? Thank you.
Okay. One quality which my people would say to me, that I was quite closed as a person. This book has really taught me to be open. I kept everything within, and that was a breakthrough for me. And the other thing was that I was always keeping a front. Vulnerability was not my quality. So being open and vulnerable was what changed me. Open and vulnerable, yes. Thank you.
Beautiful. No, I actually, one of the things that I've really enjoyed conversations with Tahira is that she really listens to the response and she processes. It's really fantastic to see someone that I might, he says, she says, or she says, he says, and it might be confronting, yet she processes it. And I really love that. And I think for me, doing this book was just one of those experiences where I got a chance to meet amazing people, and I love interviewing people, and I continue to do that for blogs and for movies and for TV, and so that's just something that I absolutely love, and it's a skill set that I'm looking to continue to improve. Thank you, Paul.
Okay. Now, how many of you have written a book or thought about writing a book? Quite a few. The next couple of questions really are just for you guys. So, what were some of the obstacles you had to overcome in writing the book? Dave, do you want to go first? He says, then she says.
The obstacle was quite fascinating because Rock Your Life actually went and found one of the best publishers in New Zealand to be our partner. So we use the scale of success. The first thing is you got an idea, you got a brand, then you need a team. So we went and got the #1 editor from Random House in New Zealand to run the business. So it's actually really easy because all we needed to do was interview people, send them the manuscripts, get them to edit it, and the book was made. So guess what? That was a pretty easy approach to make it happen. So obstacles, really there weren't none, except for maybe my business partner wanted to publish it in New Zealand, which was probably 4 times more expensive than publishing it in Malaysia. That's just a statistic of how much it costs to publish in New Zealand versus Malaysia. Yep, that was maybe one little hiccup.
Obstacles.
Yes.
101 obstacles and 101 blessings. I'll just mention 1 or 2. All right. One is that your best friend saying that you're a little, have you lost your marbles? And but the blessing, I must say the blessing, is the same people saying that we love it. So the that particular obstacle at that time was cancelled out. The other obstacle was taking time out to write this. Really, 5 years of no TV. I don't even know what's on TV. Well, that's good. So that's a blessing. So many. But I'll just mention one more. Why are you wasting your time? This is a common question that people tell me. Why are you wasting your time? What are you doing? So I really don't know what's coming out of this. But I'm moving in faith. Just moving in faith. And it's changing and evolving all the time. So having faith is key in working on something that's of such a huge scale like this. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions yet? Okay, I'll continue. Again, for the authors out there, and budding authors, and wannabe authors, what are some...
Well, I've written a few books, and one of the reasons why I wrote a book, in fact, the book, the Awesome Coaching book, I wrote in 72 hours. Created a template and wrote it very quickly. And I really looked at it as a form of a business card. And so that's one of the reasons why I wanted to establish myself in coaching. This happened when I moved from banking into coaching. And so getting a book as a business card was the strategy. And then what it really is to go and give talks. And so giving talks and doing book launches and looking for ways to add value to organizations. And so it does become a revenue stream. Yet that's the thing, is if you're going to do books, purely books, you're probably not going to have very much cash flow. And so that's where you really need to be a business person to think multiple streams of content and look for partnerships, and it can be a doorway into other businesses. And so that's my strategy there, is you're going to get better at speaking, you're going to have to go and sell most of the books, and that's part of the strategy to do that. If you can get online these days, yes, you can get on Amazon, but you're really doing that just to get your Amazon best-selling author brand, and you're looking to do online to get mass appeal so that you can get invited to maybe do a talk where you might get $2,000, $5,000, $8,000 for a keynote. That's another strategy of speaking and becoming a big part of the brand. If you want further questions on that, feel free to connect with me online, and I'll give you some feedback on that.
I do agree on the point that speaking in events helps a lot, because when I did speak in events, people would buy the book. The other thing, of course, is very important, is social media. Just showing some quotes from the book. I would share quotes from some of the favorite ones from other readers. So I collated favorite quotes from various readers and would share that, and that would entice people to buy the book. One more important thing about the book, actually publishing it, is having a beautiful cover. That's really key. I mean, I really spent time to conceptualize the title and mainly the design. I think you can judge a book by the cover, actually. You can. And you know what? You know why I say this is because I've had people who cannot read English who bought the book just because it looked beautiful. A Korean lady who could barely read English, she said, "I want to buy it. It looks nice." So, you know, it's many factors. It plays a part. And especially when you ask a bookshop, they'll say they want the design to be good. The title needs to be catchy. And of course, the first few, the preface needs to be well written. You should write the essence. It should be captivating. That's key. Thank you.
Okay, well, that leads into artwork. And first, I've got this little book here from Dave Rogers. I don't know if you can quite make out the colourful artwork there. Creative artwork. So Dave, quick one. Where did this original art come from?
This is very close to my heart, because this is when I was making the transition from banking into speaking. And like I said, I wrote the book in 72 hours, yet the design took me 6 months. 5 different designers, and I didn't like the cover. And finally, I took that cover. My 5-year-old son did an art class. And the deal was, his painting would go on the cover of the book, and he would get $1 for every copy of the book I sold. So at 5 years old, my son became a licensing entrepreneur. And I traveled around, and when I came back to Singapore after a trip, it wouldn't be, "Hi Daddy, how are you?" It's, "How many books did we sell?" And so for a whole year and a half, he made over $3,000. He got his commissions, and it was really about teaching kids. And today, I now work with that school in Malaysia, hobbies into cash flow for kids. Turning hobbies into cash flow. It's fun, it's a game, it's collaborative. That's what I love to do. Thank you, Paul.
Tahira, you have wonderful artwork in your book as
Yes.
well. So maybe you could share where that original art came from, and would you be selling the art separately?
Where did the original art come from? I sketched them because, well, I had 15 reviewers for my book. One of the reviewer works for a TV show, Nickelodeon, if you heard of it. So she said to me, can you add some artwork in your book? Because your book is so thick, it needs some designs to to create the flow and to create some, interesting. So I did just that for 1 week. Again, I lost myself in art. I just sketched like crazy. I created 20 sketches of the key things in the book. That's just what I did. There it is.
And yes, they're going to be for sale.
I've had some good responses on the art. They say beautiful and simple designs. So thank you for the questions. The person who posted the question, Billy, thank you. I did have a request from an art gallery to probably put the paintings there. Yes.
Sweet. Okay.
Great.
Any questions?
Thanks, Paul.
Okay. Then one last one is books, creativity. What's next for that creative juice to come out in?
I usually don't know what happens next. Unless the sign comes through to me. But the way I see it, wow, I think it's going to be more and more talk shows, more and more interactions with readers and potential readers. I see that happening more. And definitely more books are coming through. I am really working on this children books. It's really very key. It's very important, and because I feel that I want to access the children now. That's
Unity and diversity, global dialogue, communication, and making a difference. So let's collaborate, folks. Thank you very much, Paul. Can we give Paul a round of applause?